video froze, so I'm gonna have to figure out how
Ours did too. We're
Oh,
like,
did it? I can see you on my end. At least I'm smiling. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this conversation with Will and Nick today. We are going to be talking a lot about community as well as the drag community, and just hearing both of your really amazing stories that I'm so excited to dig a little bit deeper into your journeys and kind of what you have going on. So I would love you both to go ahead and introduce yourselves and share with us what you have going on.
hi, I'm Will. I go by they, them. What's going on for us right now is we're doing drag.
And I'm Nick or Nicole either, and I use she, they pronouns.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we're doing drag. We're planning our next we're planning our next live stream already. Because we've kind of figured out that it takes this long to get it up and running. And yeah, we're doing some drag in person, and yeah. We've just made a huge transition. We just moved to Portland from Los Angeles, and it's been going pretty well. And we've started to kind of find the people that we are like
drawn to
here, and they found us, and it's been going well. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so exciting. And I was saying before I hit the record button how much I really enjoyed your last show. It was so amazing. And I love to see it growing and blossoming into, and who knows, where it's going to go in the future. So I'm so excited to see.
Yeah, we hope we have a lot of people coming on and watching the shows and supporting
or we want you who's watching or listening to be on our show.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, I'm hoping one of these days you'll inspire Aussie to do some more. I've only gotten one out so far that I posted like a long time ago, but I'm waiting for number 2. So this is a really interesting card. Like the imagery on it is a little bit crazy. This is the 9 of Swords.
Oh my God, that card is like beautiful.
It is, yeah, they're really cool. But this really kind of inspires me to ask kind of about the journey as far as how you came together to even start this community or this adventure between both of you kind of collaborating on creating your space.
Actually, that's like an awesome question. I think for us, we were both looking for community and finding a creative outlet, and we were both looking different directions and what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? And we kind of decided, well, if we do something together, whoa, it creates this strong bond, as well as we could do something creative. And not only has that helped our relationship romantically, but also I guess friendship wise, or what would be the word for that?
I mean, it's nice to be business partners in a relationship, a loving relationship, and also be friends at the same time. And it was true. We were both kind of looking in opposite directions because we both come from different backgrounds. I come from a classical performance background in which I was performing a lot. And I had actually taken kind of a long-ish, not necessarily planned, long-ish break from being on stage and from performing in general. And I actually started, when we started doing drag, I started behind the camera because I wasn't ready to really come out and focus on myself at that point, because I was just in this space where I wasn't able to do so yet. And it was really nice to be able to help Will, because Will came from a background that wasn't performance based, but had always expressed a lot of interest in that area as a kid and as a young adult. And so it was kind of nice to be able to be mentor and kind of bolster them to be able to do something, and then in turn give myself the confidence to kind of be able to do it as well.
I really believe that Nick gave me the space to be me, and so while I was blossoming, it kind of started their blossoming, and it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
I might cry a little.
it's so amazing. Like I honestly, yeah.
It's hard to come from a background in which you're like always like striving for like excellence and perfection, and to see like kind of like a layperson's kind of like opinion of like what you do, as like a deep admirer of like the things that I like brought to the table. It was nice to be able to like be valued in that way, you know. It inspired me, you know.
Yeah, and you're inspiring so many other people together. I mean, both of you together are just popping out your little drag babies, and it's
Yeah,
so
for real.
True. We are popping out drag babies left and right.
It's so amazing the space that you're creating. And these next ones that I got are the Nine of Wands in the reverse. So it's like a staircase with wands on it, and then there's that moon at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then I got the Seven of Wands in the reverse as well. And so with the wands being a lot more about like the arts and creativity and passions, I would love to hear more about how you were both able to kind of come out of that fear space and really just go after your passions, kind of fighting through the weeds and bringing a light in these areas where, you know, a lot of the LGBT community as a whole, it's like this constant struggle to get out of that darkness and just let our light shine. So
damn, you're just like coming in all with the feels today. You're like,
We're like,
that's just the energy I'm getting.
Both of us like
crying.
maybe we needed to get therapy before this.
Oh my gosh, I swear I never know how the cards are gonna come out, and that's just what's coming out. So
we're very in tune with the universe.
yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. You start.
I think for me, I was scared for so long. Like previously, before Nicole, I was in an unhealthy relationship where I wasn't allowed to express myself through any creative outlet. Like maybe I was allowed to like play softball, but like barely. And so when we finally started talking like, hey, I want to be a drag king, I want to do this, Nicole was just like, just do it. Like, what do you got to lose? Like, just do it. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And then like once I started to like accept what I wanted and love myself, and like this is important, y'all. The moment you love yourself or you decide that you're gonna do what you want to do, like I don't know what happens, things take off. Like I started doing virtual drag because of the pandemic. I met Kelly through the pandemic and their virtual show. I put my video in and boom, like my career took off then. Like she was literally like, hey, here's a queer person that does drag. And so like it just happened. You got to open yourself up. That's like the important part, is like opening that door even when it's scary. If you're scared, do it while scared. Like that's important. Do it while scared. I'm scared always, and I'm just like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, like the Hulk, like the Hulk's like, I'm always angry. Like that's his thing, is like he can control the Hulk inside because he's always angry. He's like, he's always ready to go. Like he has his, like he compartmentalizes that part of himself, like to be able to do that. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's like I'm always scared, so I might as well just do it scared. If I, you know, I have anxiety, and sometimes it's hard to overcome, and those are the days that you give yourself
rest.
that you give yourself that balance, you give yourself rest, you give yourself a break, you know, do what you need to do for yourself. But you know, other than that, like if it's just like fear, it can sometimes be a catalyst to push you towards something that you're wanting to do. And I mean, I think that, yeah, definitely for you, that doing it scared was something that we talked about a lot in the beginning. I was like, even if you feel like you're gonna, and that's also kind of like, even though I have like a complicated relationship with performing now as an adult, I know the transformative power of what it takes to be a performer and what it takes to do art in front of other people. And it really helps you push past that fear and use that fear in a positive and a worthwhile outlet. And for you definitely, that definitely helped. I mean, for me, it helps every single time I get on stage. I'm still scared even after however many years of performing to get on stage and be able to do what I do, but that fear sometimes can create like a perfect storm of energy.
Yes, I agree so much.
Yeah. And this isn't from the cards, but I can relate because I had actually performed since I was in kindergarten, but it was more like dancing and more like things where you're not talking or, you know, nothing like that. But it was like even 10 years later, you know, you do still feel that fear every single time before you step on the stage, but it is like a rush of adrenaline at the same time. So
yeah. It also takes time to like develop that ability to like stand on stage as yourself. I think for a long time, like there's a lot of amazing artists that stand on stage just as themselves. And that was something that I hadn't experienced prior to like doing this. And I'm not on stages myself as much as, you know, like as all of me, but as a character that I've created that's more of me than anything else I've ever been.
Right.
And so that's kind of an interesting like experience too, because the in-person show that we did when we were in drag, I got to sing on stage as Nilly and be like somebody else, but also more of myself than I'd ever been before, because I was doing music and songs that I enjoyed and things that weren't just like a character that I had been given, you know what I mean? And so that was really magical. Like, yeah, it was an important big step forward for me in terms of trying to figure out like where I'm gonna go now as when I grow up, you know.
Right. I really want to ask about how you came up with like your stage names, your drag names.
Well, I think for me, so my drag name is Willy Wank Me. The first time I started doing drag, I was like, damn, I look like Willy Wonka, or the guy that plays Willy Wonka. Yeah, because I had curly, crazy hair. And I was just like, well, how do I play off of something? And I didn't even come up with my name. Nicole did.
Yeah, well, I kind of like, you said Willy Wonka, and then I was like, Willy, and then we were, you know, we have like an inside joke around the name, like William, Bill, Will,
Billy,
Billy, like all those names. And like, and I was like, well, why don't you, I was like, Willy. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess, I mean, Willy is kind of like a British word for like dick. And then I was like, okay, well, a British word for like jerk off is wank. And so I was like, okay, well, why don't you put them together, and why don't you just be Willy Wank Me?
Yeah.
And then I was like, Willy Wank Me. and then it just stuck from there.
It worked, yeah. It gets people to chuckle, so I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just threw my name on top.
And then we did, Nilly Wank.
But it works. Yeah,
and I was like, I'm Nicole, so it kind of works with the N. Nilly, Willy, Nilly, Wank Me.
It's very well coordinated. Yes, and when you have your babies, your drag babies, do you help them with their names as well, or is it like a soundboarding process, or?
So
normally
I think the only one we kind of helped was Dustin, just Dustin.
Listen, I kind of picked that one out because
like
I thought it sounded funny.
Yeah, it was a joke, and it just ended up
and
working.
It just ended up sticking for a little bit. Yeah, but I think Dustin just Dustin. Also, that happens. We call him Justin, just Dustin. But and then I guess we helped Leslie Bean.
Leslie Bean chose their name.
But yeah, Leslie Bean kind of just like was like, I should be Leslie Bean, and
I was like perfect. Yep.
Yeah, and if there's anyone who is interested in getting into performing and things like that, what would your advice for them be? Reach out to you.
Yeah, you're like, learn your song. No,
absolutely.
Reach out to us. Look on YouTube. Learn how to do contour makeup.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources out there. There's more and more resources coming out now. Like when I first started looking into like drag as performer, even when I was in college, I was looking for like drag king and like interested in like that type of stuff, and I was like, I don't know, it's not as big as being a drag queen is.
There was nothing.
But now as it's becoming more popular and more queer women and femmes and trans people are being, they've always been in drag, but now we're finally seeing them be put on our screens and seeing them be put in front of us. There's so many more resources now The first thing I would say is if you find someone whose makeup style you like, follow them.
Yep.
And like look at how they do their makeup. If you even start by like doing it like very, very similarly, you'll start to kind of develop your own style. As the more that you do it, you'll find stuff that you don't really like about it, and you'll find stuff that you inevitably do, and then you'll kind of pick and choose.
Practice. That's important. Whether it's your lip sync, whether it's your dancing, whether it's your makeup, if you're not practicing, you won't learn and you won't get better.
Yeah. And then, you know, the first and foremost is if you are interested, even if you are a little bit interested, you can definitely contact us. Obviously, from our last show, we put a lot of people in drag. We put almost half of the people in our last show up in drag for the first time.
That's amazing.
Whether or not they've been performing with us for a while, or it was their first time performing in general. And yeah, let us know if you like to get up and drag. We can help you virtually. If you're near, you know, if you're near the Portland area, we can help you in person. And yeah, if you ever need any resources, please just definitely reach us out. Point you in the right direction.
Yes.
And also the best thing to remember is that drag is for everyone, and
all drag is valid.
So that means that you know, you could be a femme presenting person who does queen drag, king drag, thing drag, any type of person, any type of drag, and we're just happy to have you. So
yes. And did you have a date for your next show yet, or you can get that to me when you do, and I'll post that up too?
Yeah, we can get that to you. No date yet, but it's in the process.
My first of all. No, we don't know yet.
We'll definitely get to the date once we have one.
I'm feeling out the best way to ask this as a question, but I got the Tower card that came out with this 9 of Pentacles in the reverse. So this is guiding me towards asking about how, I guess, prior to kind of coming out with your stage names, your showing of yourselves and performing and building the sense of community, before all of that happened, how do you feel like when you're reflecting on those experiences of who you were before and who you are today, like how have you really been able to expand what a sense of community even means, what a sense of abundance really means, and you know what's important to you in life? Like how would you even describe that?
I mean, I think that there's, I mean, unfortunately, like for me, there's always like a larger like reckoning going on in the world that I feel like I personally am connected to. But like when I graduated from college, I was super burnt out. And I really had to reassess what my thought process and my mindset around what my success was going to look like. And I still don't know what that looks like. And so it was kind of like embracing the uncertainty that I wasn't going to know for a little bit, what it was going to look like after having for so long been on one particular path. And now I feel like I've gotten to a place in where like I'm more comfortable with the idea of my success being within my own community instead of within like a larger sense of success, either monetarily or, you know, like fame based, because, you know, as a performer growing up, you get a lot of ideas and a lot of things like that you have to have attained a certain level of success to feel like you've done a good job, and you place a lot of your value on whether or not you're going to get, you know, a response back from your performance for someone or what have you. Right. And I had to like detach myself from the idea that like that was going to make me happy, and just attach the idea of my own happiness to like, okay, if I'm going to pursue my own happiness, then this path is going to follow me, because I can't just like be stepping out into, because I'm just stepping out into the unknown wherever I'm going. So if the path is going to follow me, I'm creating it.
Yeah.
Yes,
And that was pretty much, that was how I had to start to shift. And I'm still not entirely there. It's been 4 years since I graduated from college, which is wild to me. Even though I'm not that old. But yeah, and changing that into a different mindset has been really helpful. And I think honestly, you've been really instrumental in helping me change my mindset into that.
Yeah.
Because like you just like when we first met, and even still, like not just when we first met, but like because I was so different when we first met, it was just like a very stark contrast of like you enjoy things and I do not. How do I change that?
Yeah.
Like how do I emulate that? How do I increase my own happiness by just enjoying more things that I like and not giving a shit about what other people think about what I like?
I definitely think that, like, for an example, the tower card, like I feel like we both had something, but it was like a sandcastle. And like when we came together, we just created like a tower. Cause like once we figured out what we wanted to do together and how we define success as a couple, it's like everything took off.
Yeah.
And when I get the Six of Pentacles next, this can often be like a card of giving, charity, and things like that. And so I know both of you are like huge supporters, you're just advocates in general of people and humans and life and love, all of that. Like, how has that really been a strong driving force in what you're doing and what you are looking to achieve, I guess, in the future of, I guess, whatever you're doing?
I mean, I think our first project that took off and made us feel really proud of it was a project that we did for ourselves, but also to give to other people so that they could have something to look at and know that they weren't alone.
Yeah, we did a domestic violence video.
Yeah.
And like that opened like a whole nother can that I didn't think would open up. But like when we put that video out, like the community came up and showed up and was like, hey, like me too. And I'm like, what? Really? No. But also like, I'm glad I'm here to support you.
Right. And also I think that not only like when you give a piece of art to the audience, they take it and run with it. And so there are a lot of people that came out and said, and shared their stories with us from hearing our stories and Will's story and our other performer story in the film. But not only that, but the film itself had a crew and cast of all queer and femme presenting / people, just queer folks in general, people of color and other queer folks that we could include in this project that was creating like a community that is the basis of then that representation to shine outwards, that gets other people interested in the project and interested in what we're saying and all that other stuff too. So like the baseline was there of like all the people that were on the crew were folks that understood the story, had stories of their own, were from marginalized communities, and understood that like this wasn't an important message for us to get out for folks that don't hear it very often. And that was important to us to have those types of people on the project and create that community with them before we put the project out to the world,
And like also like you said, like you worded it, like we're an advocate for people. Like there's so many things going on in the world. It's hard to like stick to one thing. Like we try to span everyone.
Yeah. And didn't you win some type of award for that, or am I mistaken?
We didn't. I'm actually not sure. I don't think we won the award. I think we would know if we won the award. We were shown in a film festival.
Oh yeah, we were in a film festival.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were shown in a film festival in Santa Clarita.
We were shown in 2 film festivals in Santa Clarita. One for like awareness about domestic violence, and then another was just a film festival.
Yeah. Let's still call that a win.
Totally. They took our, like we got accepted.
Yeah.
Like,
we did. honestly, that was a part of our community helping us out too, seeing something that we didn't see at the time, like our videographer and the person who was the director of photography on the project submitted us for those things because she believed in the project and she thought that she wanted to, you know, put that forward for not only her own benefit but for our benefit as well. And that wasn't even something that we saw could be a possibility that we could do. We were just like, oh well, we'll put it out on our platforms and hope that we find it, you know what I mean?
And like it was really cool to see my face on a big screen. Like how cool is that?
And it looked amazing too.
And I feel like this leads perfectly into the next two that I got, which is the Six of Cups in the reverse, but look at it's like just this rainbow. It's like the tree roots, but it looks like a tree in itself, even though it's technically in the reverse. And then, oh my gosh, look at it. It's like a rainbow flag. Yes! I was waiting for this.
It's so beautiful.
And I feel this kind of like in the form of sharing your story, but also how you both feel like people can start advocating for themselves and taking actions in order to also advocate for others, and how we can really uproot all of these systems and ground them in love and appreciation for all humans. I mean, I know that's a big loaded question, but I mean, there's just so much rainbows going on here. And I just get this sense of like rooted in love, rooted in what makes us different and but the same.
I think the biggest thing is like it comes back to like finding a community, because sometimes it's hard to advocate for yourself. Like I work with kids and I'm like, I have to advocate for them. I'm like, how can I do this for them, but I can't do it for myself. But like when you're in a community and like people are like, here's resources, take them, like it's really nice.
I think the biggest thing, and I actually heard this from a professor of sociology that I was taking a class from a very long time ago. People have spheres of empathy. You have yourself, you have your immediate family, you have your extended family, you have your friends, and you know, varying levels and degrees of friends and family can exist in all these different spheres of empathy. But it's about increasing and expanding those spheres of empathy to include your community, your country, and then the global community as a whole. And if we can find even the slightest thread of connection through those communities all the way to the global community, that is what we should be focusing on to be able to expand our ability to love and advocate for one another. I mean, I think you really did put it great. We advocate for people first, and that's really what we're about. You know, we could get into a bunch of different like political groups and things like that I personally believe that you should probably follow, like Medicare for All, the Poor People's Campaign, things that are actually putting people that are in low income, impoverished situations first. But if you really want to start focusing on what you can do as an individual, you have to look outwards to your community.
Yes.
I think you would agree with this, is starting to curate your social media, which is your immediate community, the things that you look at and see every day, to reflect what you want to see.
Yes.
So if that means following more queer creators, that means following more queer creators. If that means following more plus size creators, that means following more plus size creators, especially following more BIPOC and queer POC and people of color that have been advocating in this community for longer than white people have.
Yep.
Truly. Yeah. And that means making the things that you see every day reflect what you want to see, so that you then can have the resources to fulfill and give to other people. if you don't understand where you can find all these mutual aid and things that we're posting about on our feeds, it's because you're not following the right people, to be quite honest. So that means going out and finding those people to follow, following Seeds of Sovereignty, following Black Lives Matter, following amazing other creators that are putting out all of this information for us to be able to proliferate amongst each other. Participate in mutual aid, participate in bartering goods and services with your friends.
Yeah.
Seriously, like
especially right now with everything that's going on, crash the system.
Yeah, seriously, people first is going to be your best bet. Advocate for yourself and the people around you,
but also take care of yourself, because burnout is real.
Yeah, and then because that first sphere of empathy is you. If you're not giving yourself what you need, there's no way that you can proliferate what you can to other people. So get what you need. Get what you need. That's what I need. Not want, need. Get what you need. Yes. Give yourself balance, give yourself space, and give what you can to others as well.
Yes. That was good.
That was beautifully said.
No, I agree. That was good.
Beautifully said. Yeah, awesome. Well, is there anything else that either of you would like to add in closing, or else we will go ahead and wrap this up?
Check us out at the Tibbs and Toto show for updates about our shows.
Yes.
Or _will for change _.
Oh, and I'm out on Soprano. Oh, wow. Start again. And I'm on Instagram at the High Soprano if you'd like any related content to me and the shows.
Yes. And you're an amazing singer. I can attest to that.
Yes.
Amazing singer.
They're going to be singing on our next show. So come check them out.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
She's amazing.
Exciting.
We can tease the theme though, because we have it picked out. Do you want?
Sure. Go for it.
It's going to be Drag Me to Broadway. So all you musical nerds
get ready.
Oh, that's going to be so good. I can't wait. I will be there. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun. And I mean, words of wisdom all the way from both of you.
Yeah, thank you.
And this was so much fun. I would love to have you again in the future. So, yes.
When we're famous, we'll come back on.
Update.
Sounds good.